Hey guys, welcome back to Take 10. So, as usual, introducing me, my name is Hale. I'm from Mishawaka, Indiana. I go to school at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, and I love flowers, drawing, and dogs. Okay, let's do our icebreaker real quick before we get back into our lesson for today. And we've got Sissy Girl here to join us. So, shaking up the hat, pulling out a fun fact about Sissy, and a question for us. Okay. Sissy was a gift to my stepdad, but she ended up being closer to my mom. So it's kind of funny. She was a present to him, and she ended up being best buddies with my mom anyway. But it was okay because my stepdad's really close with one of our other dads. So it worked out. And then our question is, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? For me, it's definitely cookie dough, without a doubt. I love cookie dough. And I think Sissy would eat any kind of ice cream if we let her. But yeah, what is your guys' favorite flavor of ice cream? Go ahead and tell a partner real quick. Okay, we will get back into the video now, and Sissy will see you later. Jumping back in for ground rules as usual. When you practice Take 10, you need to use these rules plus the rules of whatever place you're currently in. So number 1, everyone has the right to speak. Number 2, no one must speak. 3, everyone must listen. 4, no put downs and no name calling. 5, disagree on issues, but don't attack people. 6, agree to disagree. And 7, keep a sense of humor at all times. Last time we talked about effective communication, which is just like good talking and interacting. Communication is sharing information, so it's about telling the other person things and finding out things from them too. This requires really good listening skills, which means making no assumptions, no accusations. So no wild guesses about what they're doing or saying or how they feel. Can't do that. It also requires I statements, and I statements also mean no assumptions and no accusations. It's just talking about what you feel and what you see and need from a situation. So hopefully you remembered that, and now we will talk about today's lesson. Today we're going to be talking about problem solving. So, you have a conflict and you're feeling something before you feel angry, and you want to figure out what it is you're feeling. Okay, let's say we found out what we were feeling behind the anger. What do we do with that? We've already taken 10 and now we have this information. What do we do with it? We try and solve the problem. That's what we're going to talk about today. The emotion behind anger is what you're trying to make better or the problem that you're trying to solve. So if you're ever confused about what is it I'm even trying to fix, well, you're trying to fix that thing you felt before you felt angry. These are the problem-solving steps that Take 10 likes to use that will make the whole thing way easier. Number 1, identify the problem, which again should be the emotion that was behind anger. Where did that come from? Why? That's the problem. 2, brainstorm solutions. Now you can do this alone or with the person that you're in conflict with, which is what I recommend, doing it with them. It makes it much more involved and probably takes less time, in my opinion. And then 3, choose a solution. Sounds easy, but it's not always. You have a bunch of options. Which one do you want to try? It can be hard. And then 4, act on the solution. So you say you're going to do it, but you have to actually do it. You have to follow through, even if it's hard. Because in the end, once you do all this, the situation should be better. And that's exactly what we want when we're problem solving. Okay, now we are going to watch an acted out example of what problem solving looks like. What it's like to talk about your feelings with someone else, using I statements like we talked about last time. And then how you can work through it together. not just alone, but with the person that you're in conflict with. Okay, let's watch. Hey, can I talk to you about something?
Yeah, what's up?
When you and all of our friends went to the beach yesterday and didn't invite me, it made me feel left out. At first, I got angry, but then I used Take 10 to calm down, and I realized I was really just feeling rejected.
Oh, we didn't mean to make you feel rejected. We just didn't have enough seats in the car for everyone.
That makes sense. I did feel rejected, though, and that hurt. How can we fix this so no one gets hurt in the future?
Well, I guess we could stop going to the beach and only hang out here. Or we could go in separate cars next time and meet there. Or maybe we can take turns not going to the beach.
I think taking separate cars and meeting at the beach is a good idea. That seems like the best solution for everyone.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do that from now on instead.
Okay, so hopefully that example made it clear to you how to use I statements and talk about how you're feeling, and then problem solve with the person that you're in conflict with. Really good skills to have. Now I want you to turn and talk with a partner. What makes it hard to talk out and problem solve with the people we have conflict with? You might be thinking that it seems easier if we just did that alone. And I think that's a common thought. So what makes it hard to do it with the person that we have conflict with? Go ahead and take a minute. Teachers, feel free to pause the video since this question is a little bit more complicated. Okay, guys, so I don't think there are any wrong answers about this. I think it just depends on what you think, which is why it's important that we're just telling each other and, respecting that we all have different answers. My answer for this, I think that what makes it hard is that we're just not used to it. Some of you might have been thinking when I was explaining that, or when you watched the example, you might have been thinking, no one does this. This isn't realistic. But it should be, right? Because it makes it so much easier and faster to get through conflicts and feel better in the end. I agree that people do not do this as much as they should. They don't talk it out with people and they don't problem solve with people as often as they should. But I think we can change that, and I think that we should want to change that. It may be uncommon, and that might be why it's so hard. We might feel silly or just not know how because we don't have a lot of practice. But I think it's worth pushing through and practicing and doing it anyway, because I think that it's the best option for us. So that's why I think it's hard to talk it out and problem solve with the person we're in conflict with. But I'm sure your answers were really, really good. And if they're different from mine, that's totally okay. That does not mean they're wrong. There are probably tons of reasons why it's hard. So, okay. And next we have a story. So I am going to read to you guys Martin's Big Words. And this is a story about the most famous nonviolent problem solver in US history, in the whole country. And he uses some really interesting techniques to address some really big problems and conflicts completely without violence. It's so impressive, and he is a lot of people's heroes. His name is Martin Luther King Jr. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. And yeah, today we're going to learn about him and how he would problem solve all the time using nonviolence. It's very cool. Okay, let's tell the story.
Martin's Big Words: The Life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by Doreen Report. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the signs, "White Only." His mother said these signs were in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad, until he remembered what his mother told him: "You are as good as anyone." In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. When I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so that he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. When the history books are written, someone will say there lived black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. In the next 10 years, black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Wait. For years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. They were jailed and beaten and murdered, but they kept on marching. Some black Americans wanted to fight back with their fists. Martin convinced them not to by reminding them the power of love. Love is the key to the problems of the world. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed. But he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped, because God is with this movement. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world. And people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not fists. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April of 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On his second day there, he was shot. He died. His big words are alive for us today. freedom, peace. Together, I have a dream. Love.
All right, guys, I hope you liked that story. I personally think it's a really good one, and knowing about that guy, Martin Luther King Jr., is amazing. He has done some amazing things, and he's a real inspiration for nonviolent problem solving. So, for next time, I want you guys to try and remember the problem-solving steps. I need you to remember that the emotion behind anger is what you're trying to make better. So the problem-solving steps are: number 1, identify the problem. Like we just said, it's the emotion behind anger that you're trying to make better. Number 2, brainstorm solutions. I recommend doing this with the other person. It helps a ton. 3, choose a solution. Also important to do with the other person, because then it's mutual. You can both work on it. And then 4, act on the solution. Don't just say it, do it. That's how we make things better. Okay, so try and remember these for next time, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye!